What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Kurtyoy. Welcome back to a brand new video, and in today's video is a preview, a game week preview. Now I'm not sure later on if there's going to be a differentials or a captaincy video, but for now we've just got the preview, and this is where I talk about basically the upcoming game week, any good players you could have, any good games you might want to watch, and keep an eye on for those FPL players, and also FPL Guidance's tip of the week. And he's been on fire the last few weeks, and he's got another absolute Stephen Corker this week. But without further ado, let's jump straight in with the games to watch. Also quickly, earlier on this week, I believe it was on Wednesday, I posted my first ever Football Manager video on the series, Aston Villa Euro Reconstruction. I believe it's worth a watch, so go out and check it. But games to watch, starting off with Crystal Palace versus Chelsea. Interesting one, because I feel like Chelsea could have a tough time going to Selhurst Park. Palace are doing shite at the moment. I feel like they are doing shite, but it's a tough place to go is Selhurst Park. And if anyone's going to derail Chelsea in a shock sort of result, either a draw for Palace or a win for Palace, then it'll be them. They move on to some big games and some awesome looking derbies. Starting off, Bournemouth versus Southampton. The closest thing I believe both of them have to a derby between each other, because if I believe it was Bournemouth, I think the closest team to them is Southampton, so I think it works like that. But Bournemouth come in against Southampton. It's going to be tough because they've been good at home this season, and Southampton have been slipping up more than I'd thought, but it's going to be an interesting game, that one. A few key players ruled out. Austin is being one of them. But next we move on to Manchester City versus Arsenal. And this game is huge because Man City have been in a poor run of form. Arsenal have been pretty good, but that rather shocking loss to Everton means that it's really in the balance, this one, and I think it could go either way. It's going to be too tight to call. And lastly, Monday Night Football, Everton versus Liverpool. This game provides yellow cards, red cards, goals, fights, the lot. But if we know anything about derbies on Monday Night Football, they usually turn out to be pretty shite 0-0 draws, as found out Man United versus Liverpool earlier on this year. But that's that. Let's go straight on, actually, with the tip of the week. I say tip of the week. It's been about tip of the half week, because it's not been a week, but tip of the game week I should start calling it. But FPL Guidance at tips_FPL on Twitter has sent me the following Twitter DM, and this is what he says. Onto the tip, it is Christian Eriksen. A ridiculous 49 points from his last 4 games shows his point potential. Great fixtures up next too. Burnley, Southampton, Watford, Chelsea and West Brom are his next 5. He therefore provides a replacement for Firmino and any other mid. He isn't too expensive at 8.5. These double figure returns in the last 4 weeks makes him a decent captain option. Excellent to have for 8.5 million. And if you get frustrated with him, he doesn't really cut it like he had done before, then Coutinho can easily come in and replace him. Coutinho's return is scheduled for game week 19. Very interesting, that. It's something that you've got to agree with. Eriksen has been on fire in recent weeks, and looking at his fixture list, it's only going to continue. So I think if you're looking for a price rate or a midfielder around that price range, Eriksen is most definitely a man. Next up, we've got our goalkeepers, and weirdly, I believe this is the first time I've ever done it like this, every single player is the same as last week. Forster, De Gea, Lloris and Courtois. The only thing that's changed from last week is that Forster has gone up from 5.0 to 5.1. So, yeah, the reason I've got them in is because they've all got decent fixtures and they've all got really good potential. I think you're looking at Southampton going away to Bournemouth. Yes, it's hard-looking fixture, but after that, I feel like I've got a decent run of fixtures as I knock a wire. We've also got De Gea, De Saver, as he's known. And Man United have a tough task against West Brom. I think it could be a bogey team for them, but he gets in the way of a lot of shots. Doesn't catch them, but makes saves, and they get FPL points in the end. They also got Lloris on Courtois for those budget or really high budget players. Lloris is probably my favourite 5.5 to 5.7 million pound goalkeeper, and also Courtois. If you missed out on Chelsea defenders and you feel like I'm not going to pay 6.1 for David Luiz or 6.3 and above for the others, then Courtois at 5.7 could be a nice little alternative for you. Moving swiftly on, we have the defenders, and listing them off one by one. It's Cresswell of West Ham, David Luiz of Chelsea, Walker of Tottenham, Bertrand of Southampton, Valencia of Manchester United, and then lastly, bit of risk, but Friend of Middlesbrough. Now, Cresswell has a nice home game against Hull, and for the next 2 game weeks, looks really good. I think the Hull one especially, I think it'll be another game pretty much like the Burnley one. Low scoring, but a clean sheet for West Ham. I don't think they'll slip up on this one. David Luiz also, I mentioned if you're not willing to pay for David Luiz, Kurtyoy's a good option, but he's the cheapest of the Chelsea defenders. He will miss out on those bonus points. I don't think he goes up for many things. He's pretty much used as a sweeper, which I think is really interesting. So, very defensive. We'll miss out on bonus points, but we'll get the clean sheets when Chelsea get them. Could get another one this weekend, who knows. And we've got Walker, great attacking potential, great defending potential, in a fantastic back line and a very, very good clean sheet worthy team. He's definitely worth transferring in. We've also got Bertrand, the cheapest of the current playing Southampton defenders that I consider their best back line. Cedric has been missing now for 3 game weeks, however many game weeks, so I think I'll stay away from him, although I did say him last weekend. Hopefully he'll be back soon. He's the cheapest of the 4. Moving on from that though, we do have Valencia. Valencia at Manchester United, again, is a tough one for West Brom, but I think he'll be bombing down the right. If they're sitting back, he'll be able to get those crosses in. And in the end, one of them might hit. So it's just Valencia's game. That's how he gets most of his assists. Pretty much like Jesus Navas. Cross and cross and cross until one of them slips through the cracks. And lastly, as I said, George Friend. He's a bit of a risk because he's not 100% confirmed fit on FPL. But it has been confirmed he's in contention for a game against Swansea. And although Middlesbrough have the worst attacking record in the league, Swansea almost have the worst defensive record. So, if they're going to score, when they're going to get a clean sheet, I think this will be the game week to do it. And moving on from that, we have the midfielders. Only 5 this week because I didn't want to put my money heavily on a 6th midfielder. We're going to start off though with a man that is the most informed Liverpool midfielder that's fit, I might add, is Adam Lallana, and he comes in at £7.3 million. Interesting game against Everton. I have said it probably will be a 0-0 because it's Monday Night Football, and we all know Monday Night Football and big games usually results in a rather boring game. If you've got someone like Burnley versus West Brom, that's going to be a goal fest instead of a normal boring game. It switches around. It's opposite day whenever it's Monday Night Football, so keep an eye on that one. Lallana's an interesting prospect. We move on to Christian Eriksen. Now, he would have been at the top. He would have been having his picture on the screen, but Christian Eriksen was the tip of the week. So he had his picture there, so I don't want to shout around too much, but Eriksen, like I said, 49 points, fantastic point potential, and the next few games he's got coming up are looking insane. We've also got Gylfi Sigurdsson, who's looking, not to say decent, although I think Middlesbrough will be a tough task to break down Sigurdsson. If anyone's going to do it, it'll be him. And then we've also got what I like to call a sort of a Coutinho kind of replacement. Is Dimitri Payet. Now, if you want to bring him in, they've got a decent few games coming up, and then by the time you want to get Coutinho in, they go into a spell of rather hard games. So bring him in for now, gets a few good scores. Bring him in for Coutinho, who gets a load of good scores. So it seems like a good prospect. And lastly, we've got Willian. Now, I'm not too sure about this one. I've left him to last because it's a bit of a risk. I'm not sure on Hazard whether he's going to start or if he's going to make an appearance. But I do feel Willian is pushing heavily for Pedro's spot, although Pedro has been pretty consistent throughout the whole of the 3-4-3 saga with Antonio Conte's Chelsea. Willian's been in good form when he's come off the bench. He's made an impact, almost like Fabregas, and he started, with the last game, grabbed himself an assist. Fabregas, ironically, scored the goal. And I think if anyone's going to push for a start in this team, whether it be over Moses, maybe for a bit of risk or more attacking prospect, or over Pedro, I think Willian will be playing there. And if Hazard doesn't play, then I think Willian's definitely getting a start, and he's definitely got potential to score points. And lastly, move on to the attackers, and usually I like to do it speedily, but I don't really know how much time I've got left, so I'm just going to go through at normal pace, and hopefully I don't end up having half an hour worth of recording. But Harry Kane, reason being, he's going to score a lot of goals. And he should do. I mean, I thought he was going to score a lot of goals last weekend, and he didn't really do much, so yeah, not too good. He faced up against Burnley, and I think it's an interesting tie, but hopefully Kane will start getting goals because he's in my team. And another one that's in my team is Diego Costa. £10.9 million gets you the, I would say, man-eater, but he stopped that. He's a changed man, and I really do think he is worth bringing in. He's not getting that 5th yellow card, and even if he does, he's well worth bringing in, because after that, he's got another 5 yellow cards to get until he gets suspended again, which I don't think he'll even meet 10 this season. If I put a bet on it, I'd put money on it. But we move on to Jermaine Defoe, face up against a Watford side that do like to concede goals. Have conceded at least 1 in all of their last 6 games, so really interesting tie for him, and he's a goal scorer. Put him in the right place, he'll get the right result. Ibrahimovic comes in. he's just going to score. He's in a decent run of form, and I feel like Man United coming up against West Brom, very physical team, but Ibrahimovic is a man mountain, so you know, no need to worry about that. We've also got Origi, who scored 4 games running now, got a bit of a slight injury worry for the next game, but it's worth noting he scored the last time they played against Everton in a 4-0 win, and although Everton got a red card, he scored before the red card happened, so none of that nonsense. And lastly, bit of a risk, Andy Carroll, who's a bit of a risk last week, is a bit of a risk this week. Against Hull, you're hoping if crosses are going to go in, he will nod them down into the back of the net, but he didn't score in the last game week. Hopefully, though, he can score in this one. And that is that for this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know, are you going for any of the players I mentioned in today's video, or have you got your own people I've potentially forgotten? I've only got 5 midfielders. Who would you fill that 6th midfielder spot up with in my little preview video? Thank you all for watching though. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all, hopefully, in the next game week. Peace.